Jeremiah's busting out? Expect a jailbreak or bail plot. Dwight pushes Northeast liquor rollout, but Quiet Ray tests loyalty. Frat heist cash? Funds a bigger score, maybe clashing with Cole's solo glow-up. Tyson drama brews, strip club vibes from EP3? Could pull him into deeper trouble. And Musso? Bill's arrest ties back, FBI squeeze on Dwight ramps up. Teasers hint explosions, so action alert. Jeremiah vs. Dwight finale showdown, but with Sack Rider flipped, it's political war. Cole rebels? Becomes anti-hero or Dwight ally? Bigger threats, triads from Season 2 revenge? Or New York mob sniffing weakness? Dwight's family, daughter Tina, sis Joanne, gets messy, maybe a betrayal. Longshot, spin-off tease with Nola King vibes, tying in Samuel L. Jackson rumors. Season 4's locked, Stallone's deal seals it, so no loose ends, expect a cliffhanger bigger than Season 2's. Dwight pulls off his slickest con yet, Jeremiah Dunmire finally gets what's coming, and that frat house heist. Pure chaos. But stick around because after the recap, I've got wild predictions for Episode 8 and the finale. Hit that like button if you're Team Dwight, subscribe for weekly breakdowns, and drop in the comments, is Jeremiah done for good? Let's break it down, no mercy. Alright, before we spoil everything, Episode 7 drops on November 2nd exclusively on Paramount+, same weekly Sunday slot. Titled Art of War, yeah, Sun Tzu vibes all day. This is mid-season gold, Dwight's juggling threats from Quiet Ray, the fallout from that EP6 assassination flop by Cole, and the Montague distillery shutdown. With only 3 episodes left in this 10-episode banger, finale hits November 23rd, stakes are sky high. Episode 7 kicks off with Quiet Ray blowing up Dwight's phone, still salty from that botched meeting in EP6. Dwight's like, nah, 80% cut? Forget it, let's talk Northeast Club access instead. Smart pivot, right? He smooths it over, but that's just appetizer. The meat? Dwight's masterclass in political chess, the increased presence of Quiet Ray, played by James Russo, in the latest Tulsa King episode certainly ups the ante and makes it gripping TV once again. Mitch and Cleo's Bonnie and Clyde dynamic is also as entertaining as it has ever been this season, adding an assaulting a police officer charge to Mitch's laundry list of misdeeds. There also seems to be some sparks flying between Body and Grace, while Cole Dunmire's desperation for his psychotic father's approval reaches an all-time high. The loose approach to the storytelling this season is still not doing Tulsa King any favors. The notes of humor land more effectively in Bubbles, which nearly brings the series back to its Season 1 heyday. Among a variety of car scenes featuring road trips and phone calls, we discover that Special Agent Musso is holding Bevilacqua in custody for reasons yet to be explained, and Armand, who has been missing all season, is declared dead by suicide without much emotional impact. From the promo, we see Dwight cornering Musso in a rainy warehouse standoff. "You think you can play God with my city?" Dwight growls. Flashbacks tie back to Bill's reveal, Musso faked Bill's death to flip him as an informant. Dwight's not buying the Fed's protection racket anymore. Expect a brutal interrogation where Dwight extracts Musso's full plan, taking down the Invernizzi family through Dwight. Blood spills, literally. Stallone co-wrote this EP, and he teased it's beyond the pale. We're talking moral lines crossed. Bill's back, but broken. He confronts Dwight in a dimly lit bar. "Musso promised me a way out." He lied. Twist? Bill's been feeding Musso intel on Dwight's operations for months, including the distillery deal. But here's the kicker, Bill's got dirt on Musso too, like evidence of Fed corruption. Dwight might flip him as an ally, or end him. Trailer shows a tense handshake that turns into a scuffle. High drama. Season 3, Episode 6 started to get back on the right track because it narrowed its focus on its most interesting and familiar characters. Musso, whose entire presence in the series so far has been perplexing at best, was hardly seen, as was the case for Thresher, who made a strong Season 2 antagonist but doesn't have much purpose in Season 3, which literally has two big bads already, along with an obnoxious little one. The best-case scenario for the remaining 4 episodes of Tulsa King Season 3 would feature the beef between Dwight and Quiet Ray reaching drastic levels to the point where Dwight is affected like never before. The Dunmires don't have what it takes to knock Dwight off his pedestal and are really just the equivalent of nagging flies trapped in the house at this point. The increased presence of Quiet Ray, played by James Russo, in the latest Tulsa King episode certainly ups the ante and makes it gripping TV once again. Mitch and Cleo's Bonnie and Clyde dynamic is also as entertaining as it has ever been this season, adding an assaulting a police officer charge to Mitch's laundry list of misdeeds. There also seems to be some sparks flying between Body and Grace, while Cole Dunmire's desperation for his psychotic father's approval reaches an all-time high. The loose approach to the storytelling this season is still not doing Tulsa King any favors. The notes of humor land more effectively in Bubbles, which nearly brings the series back to its Season 1 heyday. Among a variety of car scenes featuring road trips and phone calls, we discover that Special Agent Musso is holding Bevilacqua in custody for reasons yet to be explained, and Armand, who has been missing all season, is declared dead by suicide without much emotional impact. Dwight is starting to feel like a broken record with how many times he says this Montague bourbon venture is the biggest opportunity of his life. A guy like Quiet Ray is the perfect person to hit Dwight with a reality check, one that will rearrange his priorities very quickly. Force a sting on Ray or Deacon, leading to a twist where Dwight turns the tables. The face-off scene shows Dwight's crew armed against Dunmire's mob. That's my take on Tulsa King Season 3 Episode 5. If you're excited, smash that like button, subscribe for more breakdowns, and turn on notifications so you don't miss my recap after it airs. Thanks for watching, see you next time. Today we're diving into Season 3 Episode 5, titled On the Rocks. If you haven't caught up through Episode 4, hit pause now because there will be major spoilers ahead for what's already aired. For Episode 5, which drops tomorrow on Paramount+, we'll cover previews, teasers, and my predictions on what to expect. Let's get into it. Season 3 kicked off with Dwight Manfredi, played by the legendary Sylvester Stallone, facing new threats in Tulsa. After Season 2's chaos, Dwight's empire is expanding, but so are his enemies. Episode 1, Blood and Bourbon, introduced the Dunmire family as major antagonists, stealing Dwight's prized 50-year-old bourbon. In Episode 2, The 50, we saw Tyson messing up big time, leading to the heist. Episode 3, The G and the OG, ramped up the crew's efforts to track it down, with some redemption arcs kicking in. And Episode 4, Staring Down the Barrel? Phew, that was intense. Dwight and his team stage a brutal railyard standoff to recover the bourbon. Tyson gets a lead from Serenity, who turns out to be a spy, a classic twist. They muscle their way in, but it ends with Cole Dunmire's death. Meanwhile, Margaret pitches a fake dating plan to help Cal Thresher's governor run, which Dwight's not thrilled about. Jeremiah Dunmire drops that ominous line, "The war is heating up." Now, for On the Rocks, previews suggest this one's going darker and more explosive. The big hook is the fallout from Cole's death. The Dunmires aren't letting that slide, expect Jeremiah to rally for revenge, putting Dwight's control on shaky ground. Alliances might dissolve, who's really loyal in Dwight's crew? We could see betrayals from within, turning friends into foes. Old enemies might resurface too, bringing grudges or shady deals. On the political side, Margaret's scheme with Thresher could create jealousy or blowback for Dwight. And with Quiet Ray back in the mix from Episode 4, maybe he plays a bigger role. Overall, it's about escalating the underworld war, with Dwight making some brutal choices to hold onto his empire. Previews tease power shifts and dangerous confrontations, can't wait. Dwight goes scorched earth on the Dunmires, but it backfires with law enforcement or internal leaks. Maybe Tyson's arc leads to more family drama. Margaret's plan? Total recipe for relationship tension, Dwight's territorial, remember? Could Thresher betray them post-election? And with the season halfway done, this episode might set up a mid-season twist, like a major alliance flip or another death. What do you think? Drop your theories in the comments. Episode 5 is anticipated to explore the immediate aftermath, with previews emphasizing a shift to darker, more volatile storytelling. Key anticipated elements include retaliation from Jeremiah Dunmire, who warns of an intensifying war, potentially leading to violent confrontations that test Dwight's grip on Tulsa. Betrayals are a central theme, as alliances within Dwight's circle may fracture, with not all members proving loyal amid mounting pressures. The return of old foes could introduce new grudges or opportunistic deals, complicating Dwight's strategies. Politically, Margaret's proposal to aid Thresher's campaign by posing as his partner introduces relational strain, given Dwight's possessiveness and Thresher's history as a rival. This subplot ties into broader power dynamics, where Thresher's potential governorship could benefit or endanger Dwight's empire, depending on loyalties. Character developments in Episode 5 are expected to deepen existing arcs. Dwight faces moral and tactical dilemmas, balancing aggression with vulnerability as enemies multiply. Tyson, seeking redemption after his heist involvement, may encounter further tests of loyalty. Margaret's independence drives her political maneuvering, but it risks alienating Dwight, highlighting themes of trust in relationships. The Dunmires, fueled by grief over Cole, represent old money privilege clashing with Dwight's street-smart mob ethos. Supporting characters like the crew and Serenity could pivot into betrayers or allies, adding unpredictability. If the premiere of Tulsa King Season 3 felt like a bit of a corrective to a lackluster second season, Episode 3 feels like it's proving a point and then some. We've already had tense sit-downs between Dwight and the new big bad, Jeremiah Dunmire. We've roped in almost every surviving character from the previous 2 seasons, and we're starting to genuinely imperil the core cast. Things are getting serious, they're already serious, and they're going to get even more serious very quickly. This is what you want from a show like Tulsa King. Taylor Sheridan can be prone to bouts of self-indulgent excess, and that sort of thing can derail a season. These tight episode runtimes don't provide much leeway, so I'd rather a bit less depth and build-up, especially since a lot of these relationships and dynamics have been developing for a while, and more head-on collisions. That seems to be the 3rd season's guiding MO. Long may it continue. Before we unload the chaos of Episode 4, let's rewind to that gut-punch ending of the G and the OG. Dwight's out here playing 4D chess with his new distillery empire, but things go sideways fast. Tyson's living his best life at Stroker's strip club, throwing stacks like it's nothing, but boom, Cole Dunmire's goons snatch him up. They drag him to some abandoned warehouse, and Cole's got him staring down the barrel of a shotgun, ready to paint the walls red for messing with the family business. Meanwhile, Dwight's on a creepy road trip with that shady Fed, Agent Musso, the guy with a personal grudge from Dwight's pre-prison days. They pull up to a sit-down with Jeremiah Dunmire, who's got his local muscle surrounding them like it's a bad western. Dwight ain't backing down from the distillery fight, but the feds are circling, and that secret 50-year bourbon stash. It just fell right into Dunmire's lap. Alright, Episode 3, the G and the OG, was straight fire, literally. Dwight's bourbon empire is booming, but the Dunmire family's not having it. Tyson, our young gun, goes full spy mode on Cole Dunmire at Stroker's strip club, but gets snatched by Cole's crew. Blindfolded in a warehouse, staring down a shotgun, talk about tension. But plot armor activates, Mitch and body track him via phone, roll up in that bulletproof Cybertruck, Elon would be proud, and bust him out in a hail of bullets. Tyson escapes, but not without dropping a warning to Cole, war's on. Meanwhile, Dwight's playing diplomat with Jeremiah Dunmire, but Agent Musso, that Fed with a grudge from Dwight's old New York days, is stirring the pot. Cleo, fed up, straight up sets fire to Jeremiah's land as payback. And the kicker? Cole's goons raid Dwight's storage, swiping his secret bourbon stash. Dwight's left fuming, team tensions are high, and Musso's vendetta is bubbling. Meanwhile, Grace, Tyson and bodytail Cole Dunmire in the least possible of stealth vehicles, Tyson's Tesla Cybertruck. They follow Jeremiah's son to a warehouse, and when they follow him inside, they find a bingo game full of senior citizens. So they sit and play. Goody shows up mid-game. I thought we were about to get into something nefarious, Grace explains sheepishly, explaining her reason for calling him. Goody looks around for 2 seconds and clocks that Cole and his goons are running a scam. And he proves it by interfering with the age-old con so that Tyson wins. Cole is super mad, but he pays Tyson rather than make a huge scene in front of the marks, a clientele. Dwight's crew go to a strip club named Strokers, side note, eye roll, after, and Tyson throws around so much cast that a dancer named Serenity takes him back to a private room. They talk about their individual futures. She's got dreams, you see, she just wants to get out of Tulsa. When their intimate moment is interrupted by Cole, who puts his gun to Tyson's head. Well, so much for that goldmine Dwight was sitting on. Theodore Montague's 50-year-old bourbon, the secret reserve that was supposed to make Manfredi millions, falls into Dunmire hands at the end of this week's Tulsa King. And the worst part about it? A member of Dwight's crew is responsible, though can you really blame him, given the circumstances? If you watched, you know what I'm talking about. And if you didn't, keep reading for the highlights of the G and the OG. Agent Musso contacts Dwight and says he's got a mission for him, and he'll send a car. Dwight dodges his suspicious sister's questions and gets in the ride when it arrives. It's a self-driving car, which freaks Dwight the fudge out to the point that he pulls his gun and tries to kill the driverless vehicle. Sounds weird, but it's quite funny. Musso knows about Quiet Ray, calling him the boss of bosses, but Dwight won't confirm anything. They wind up getting pulled over for speeding by a local cop, and when Musso's FBI credentials don't impress the guy, Dwight steps out of the car and works his charms on the officer. He makes up a story about how pathetic Musso's life is and why he was speeding. Musso watches the whole exchange from afar, by the way, and eventually Dwight schmoozes them right out of the ticket by promising the cop some Oklahoma City Thunder tickets. But what does Musso need Manfredi to do, anyway? There's a lowlife named Deacon. This guy is pure evil, Musso says, who works in a jewelry clock repair shop, and Musso needs Dwight to go in there and act like a mafioso to gain the man's trust for future operations. So he does. Later, on the way back, we get the sense that Musso's mission actually isn't officially sanctioned. Whatever is going on with Deacon, it's personal. At the end of the hour, Dwight is hanging out with Margaret when he gets a call from Goody. He immediately goes to the Montague property to find his wheelman battered and the bourbon stolen. "How bad are you, Tyson?" he asks, concerned. "I'll live," Tyson replies. "Dunmire won't," Dwight promises. Oh, and also of note, Armand's wife shows up at the distillery, frantic. He never showed up to see their kids, and now he's not picking up his phone. "My husband is missing," she cries. At the end of the hour, Dwight is hanging out with Margaret when he gets a call from Goody.